Welcome to your Yin practice. We will be doing our poses at the wall today. So it'll be a little bit weird for me because I won't really ever be looking at you. But this should feel really good in terms of an opening through the hips, groin, inner thighs, like outer hip, and then side body. The only prop I really have available or might need today is just a blanket or a bolster or a block, something that will give you a little height underneath your seat when we do legs up the wall pose. Okay, so I'm gonna just turn toward the wall and we're gonna start in butterfly pose at the wall. So I just like to scoot one hip up all the way toward the wall. And then from here, come down to my back and turn. And then you might adjust your seat further away from the wall or closer. And then from here, bend the knees, take them out to the sides, bring the soles of the feet together. And then you'll know, does your body need to move away from the wall? Could you come a little bit closer? And then, I don't know if you can really tell from this picture, but my knees are pretty, like they're moving forward toward my shoulders instead of really toward the wall, which tells me like I'm pretty tight in my low back right now and hips. So I'm just gonna honor where my knees are out right now and the mobility of my hips. I haven't done any real movement today. So once you're here, you could have one hand on belly, one hand on chest. And let's actually all start there so we can practice belly breathing. And I just posted a 5-minute audio recording of belly breathing or diaphragmatic breathing. And this will help you connect to your body and also calm your central nervous system down. So either both hands on belly or one on belly, one on heart. Close the eyes. And as you inhale, expand the belly like a balloon. And then exhale slowly at the mouth. Belly deflates. Inhale, belly rises, but chest stays relatively still. And then exhale, belly draws toward the spine. Inhale, long, steady. Exhale, slow, steady. A few more rounds on your own here. And after your next exhale, let's come back to your natural state of breathing. So you don't really need to focus on the breath, but notice how you feel after that several rounds of diaphragmatic breath. And then we'll just hold this pose in stillness for the next few minutes. Feel free to adjust your feet higher or lower. You can maybe just have a gentle press with your hands on the knees. But you don't want to force anything. We're just wanting the body kind of open up here on its own. Notice if you're holding your jaw shut or clenching. Relax the space between your eyebrows. And let your shoulder blades be heavy on the mat. Can be a little lift in the low back, like the natural arch of the lumbar spine, and then the back of the pelvis softens. I should mention, I'm not firmly pressing the feet together. The soles of the feet are together, but not super active. Take another body scan. See where you might be holding tension or overcompensating somewhere else in your body, because maybe you don't even know this, but you could be trying to make up for the opening throughout the hips, especially as sensation builds in the groin area. Sometimes we try to like almost stop that sensation by doing something else that could cause pain in the long run in our body. For example, clenching the jaw, or maybe not relaxing the shoulders. So just make the back body super heavy. Allowing the lower body to start to open up more. And we'll just be here about 5 more rounds of breath. Inhale deeply. Exhale, release. Good. Now take your hands to draw the knees in together and then toward the chest. You could take some circles here of the knees, a few in each direction. And then we'll come to a reclined figure 4 stretch. So I'm going to show you this from the side view, but we will take it at the wall. So if you wanted to, it's really intense at the wall. So I'm just going to show you this version first. So the first version would be on your back. Feet are about hips width distance apart, and you would start with crossing the left ankle over the right thigh. And then the biggest thing I see with this pose is that when you want to deepen, you might lift the chest, reach for the gap, and really crank on the lower body. What I would like you to do instead is take your thumb to your hip crease and press this left thigh forward, like away from your shoulder, and then see what the mobility here is of the hips while continuing to press this left thumb forward. And then you'll just stay here. You can kind of relax the feet. You might flex this ankle on top, protect the knee, but then this other foot just hangs and you stay. And if this becomes unbearable, you could always bring your bottom foot to a bolster or a block, just so it's not too intense. Okay, but if you want to step it up more, you'll take both feet to the wall. And I have to scoot my seat pretty far, away from the wall, just so that I can hook the left ankle onto the right thigh. And then your right knee here lines up with the right ankle, and you just let the foot be flat onto the wall. This left foot, the ankle is flexed, and I still want to take my left thumb to the left hip crease and press it toward the wall. What that does is create some length between the rib cage and the pelvis, so we're keeping the side body nice and long. And it also keeps our hips in alignment, so the femur bone roots in to the hip socket. It's nice and happy there. Okay, so once you find like a 60% edge, we don't want to go all the way to the 100% edge. We want the body to have a place to go. You'll just stay there and breathe. And this can feel really intense right out the gate, so you decide if you want to come off of the wall and do this just on your mat, or stay with me. Stay connected to your breath. You can let the eyes close. Take your body scan from head to toe. Where might you be holding on to some tension or tightness? And it doesn't mean like the tightness is just going to go away once you soften your body. It's just training your body over and over again, that when we get into these stretches, we're focusing on the breath and letting the body open, because the breath guides us to that deepening. Go ahead and just tuck your chin a touch. You want the back of the neck nice and long. Just a gentle pressure on the back of the head. Shoulder blades heavy on the mat. Back of the pelvis softens down to the mat. Back body really heavy. body heavy, back of the pelvis soft. At this point, you might scoot your hips a little bit closer to the wall. I'm going to stay where I'm at because I do feel pretty tight. You can put some gentle pressure onto the left knee, press it toward the wall. And as long as you don't have numbness, tingling, sharp pain, shooting pain, you're breathing through this sensation. And I feel it. It's kind of intense. Like I really want to get out of the pose. But this is the point where you stay in it. And we'll be here about 5 more rounds of breath. Inhale in, exhale out. Okay, I'll just gently release that left ankle. So if your feet are on the mat, just take them, kind of windshield wiper the knees side to side. If they're on the wall, you can do this. Just notice the difference here between the sides, or the feeling, like how do you feel? And then we'll switch. So if you're on your mat, your right ankle crosses over the left thigh. This foot can stay active, this right foot, flex the ankle, or you can kind of just let it do its thing. And then the left foot's all the way up against the wall. Now I'm going to take my right thumb into the right hip crease, like the top of the right thigh. Make sure the femur bone's nice and rooted into my hip socket. Tuck the chin a touch. Your arms can always go out to the side or stay on the belly. Come into stillness as quickly as possible. Keep your focus on your breath. Take your body scan. Notice where in your body you are gripping so that you can avoid what we're trying to work on here. Opening up the outer hip, glutes, At this point, you can maybe wiggle your hips a little closer to the wall. Maybe you could take the right hand and gently press the right knee forward. Soften the back of your pelvis. Shoulder blades nice and heavy. And you're breathing. Stay with the sensation, breathe. 5 more rounds of breath, slow and steady. Inhale, belly rises. Exhale, belly falls. After your next complete exhale, take in your inhale. And then slow exhale. And unhook the right foot. Foot to the wall, and then knees side to side. Good. And then from here, we're going to scoot our booty a little bit closer toward the wall. And bring the feet back up, and we're going to take a twist. So again, this can be done on, I'm going to scoot back a little bit actually. This can be done on your mat with your feet down. I'm going to cross, so you could do this easy twist where you bring your knees into the chest so the feet are not touching the wall, and then knees come over to the right, and then gaze to the left. Just hang out there. So yeah, we'll just stay here in this easy twist. So stacking the knees, maybe the soles of the feet are pressing onto the wall. Go ahead, bring a little arch into the back so you kind of stick your tailbone like out. Your pubic bone goes between the thighs, and your gaze is off to the left. And just a few more rounds of breath. We won't hold this one as long as the other poses. Inhale. Exhale. Take your gaze back through center. And then we'll just walk the feet up to the wall maybe. Bring the knees back toward the chest. You can lift the pelvis and shift it to the right. This will help bring the arch back into the low back, and then let the knees fall to the left. And this prop reminds me that, of course, you can have a prop under the knees here, but typically when we use a lot of props, that's more of a restorative class because we aren't looking to stretch in a restorative class. That's just simply to calm down the central nervous system. Yin is more about the stretch. You can take your gaze to the right. Stick your tailbone out. Bring the arch back. Gaze to the right. A few more rounds of breath. Same thing here. Notice the back body being nice and heavy. Let the lower body soften down into the mat. Inhale. Exhale. And bring your gaze back through center and the knees back up. Readjust. And you can take your windshield wipers. Okay, so now I'm going to grab the bolster for a little height. Underneath the back of the pelvis. So you can sit up on to the bolster. It's just always a little bit awkward. Bring the legs straight up. And we'll do one last stretch before Shavasana. So your sits bones don't need to be up against the wall necessarily. If you have the ability to do that, you can. You have a little height here underneath your seat. That could be a firm pillow, couch cushion, or block. And then go ahead, take your thumbs to the top of the thighs and press them forward. You can walk your shoulder blades together. And then start to walk your feet apart from the wall. So we'll come into this straddle stretch. And then you really want to start slow here. If I was going to go all the way to my edge, I would be here. But I'm going to start more up here so that my groin area, inner thighs, have a place to go. And then take your heels more up and your toes pointing down toward your mat. Okay, and then from here, find the position you want for your arms. If you leave your body often, which means you kind of leave the focus of the breath, bring your hands, interlace them onto the belly. It'll help you just stay connected to the connection between the hands and the belly as you breathe. If you're pretty good about staying in your body and focused on your breath, you can do whatever with your arms. You could goalpost out to the sides, whatever works for you. A little tuck of the chin, and settle in. Now, if you feel like you've started to open gently, maybe take the heels a little lower on the wall, continue to turn the toes down. This will bring that external rotation here into the legs. If you feel any strain on the back of the knees or the sides, you could take your legs up more or even take a little bend in the knees. Few more rounds of breath. Stay here in your body, connect to the breath. Just let gravity take over. Inhale. exhale. Bring the hands to the outer knees. You could bend them and then bring them up. Legs up the wall pose to end. Can adjust your hips. Just a nice way to end the practice. Hopefully there's not really any sensation here, but more the feeling of your body being nice and calm. Perhaps some more space between your thoughts. And if you can afford to stay here for a while, you could cover yourself up with a blanket or put some socks on if you're getting cold. Maybe an eye mask, turn the lights down, and just enjoy this. It's like the best pose ever. Find complete stillness. Know that your breath is still moving your body. Soften the space between your eyebrows. Soften your jaw. Shoulders heavy on the mat. And pelvis like cement. And your legs just light as a feather. So as I mentioned, just stay here as long as you can, or otherwise I'll guide you out. And if you are going to stay, your body will tell you when you're ready to come out. Just take the knees in one at a time to your chest. Roll to one side, doesn't matter which one, nice and slow, and just stay there for a moment. And then use your top hand to press yourself up to a seat. Eyes remain closed. If you're in your seat, just tuck your chin slightly, rest your hands on your knees. or in your lap, and just notice how you feel right now in your body. Bring your palms together in front of your heart space. Inhale. Exhale. Thank you so much for practicing. Namaste.